Alright, we are live. Me just send this link out. Alright. Cool. Welcome to the video, welcome to the stream. We are remaking Zelda 1 in the style of Link's Awakening on Godot 4.6. Last time I streamed, we did enemy spawns. So anytime I walk into a new screen, 6 Octoroks will show up. Pretty basic implementation so far, as every single screen will always have the same 6 Octoroks, and every single time we walk back into a screen, it'll reset it to 6 Octoroks. So, couple places I can go from here. One is have some sort of way to define which enemies spawn per screen, which will pretty much just be we have 0 Octoroks or 6 Octoroks or some amount in between. You remember me from 5 years ago when I open sourced my Zelda clone in Godot? Awesome. Wow, it's been a while since then. Yeah, I'm doing this project so I can get back onto Tetraforce, but that was on Godot 3, and I've taken a pretty long break from programming or any personal game development projects, at least. So, trying to catch it back up to Godot 4 with some better practices and continue work on that. But welcome to the stream. Thanks for sticking around. So yeah, either we could define however many enemies are going to spawn per screen, that's one thing, but it's still just going to be Octoroks, or we could work on a new enemy. So I think new enemies would be a more fun thing to stream. Thank you, Cheap, appreciate you. So next enemy we're going to make is the Tektites. I do have assets here and a scene made, but I haven't actually started putting it together yet. Started this yesterday and I was like, you know what, this might go on YouTube. So I'll walk you through how a new enemy would look. Right now our scene just extends actor. Actor's our base class that currently just the player and the Octorok extend from. Let me pull up the Octorok as well, because we're going to be referencing this quite a bit. Tektite's going to require some new stuff, because it jumps, and I have nothing in the actor script that defines, you know, how far above something is from the floor, and like the shadows that need to render underneath. Nice thing about creating this Tektite enemy is all of that logic will just go into the actor class, and all actors will be able to use this. So Link will be able to have the Rock's Feather and will be able to jump. And if I wanted to make it like enemies throwable or something like that, they'll all use the same logic as well. So yeah, let's well, first we gotta put this guy together. So he needs a sprite, animation player. I kind of want this guy to just use an animated sprite at some point, because he only has 2 frames, and an animation player feels like overkill. But it's honestly fine for right now. So, idle. It's just gonna cycle through these 2. I don't know how long the animation's gonna be. I'm pretty much pulling everything from Link's Awakening. So let's go frame by frame and see how long he cycles through his animation. So I'll wait until he gets to down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so 16 frames. Looks like roughly 16 frames for each, so I'll go make this. How do I turn this from seconds to frames? You? Yeah. We'll do 32 frames and we'll put it halfway. Have this loop. Cool. And then next animation will just be called jump. Doesn't matter how many frames this is, it's just going to be this frame. Idle is not looping. No, it is, okay. It's idle, he could jump and go back to idle. Alright. Looks good to me. What else does Octorok have? Eventually, like I said, I wanted to use animated sprite for Tektite. I'm gonna like put the animation player. This will be one component for anything. What's up, Herrick? Welcome. This will be one component for any actor that has directioned animations. And then anything in the actor class that requires, like I can get rid of this animation player, maybe this sprite, and this function, and this function. Some of those things can be put into components. And then that also lets me use them for things like tiles that aren't actors, because a lot of this stuff will apply to both. Not everything has to fall under an actor class. And then hurtbox, hitbox. These I probably want to add in programmatically, but I can use the scenes. It's fine. And this collision polygon, is this shared between the player and everyone? Yeah, it's the same one. So this I'll actually save this as a scene right now. We'll touch player after this. Collision. Collision should always be, if I set its transform 2 down here, because it is 2 down, right? Yeah. If I set it 2 down here, will it instance 2 down? Okay, and then are the hurt boxes and hit boxes displaced at all? Is their transform 0, 0 or not? That's what I mean. So they're both 0, 0. Should be able to just drag both of these in right here. I'm still not sure if I want hitbox and hurtbox to be separate things. It is kind of useful for them to have their own scripts. So, yeah, they'll be separate, but they do use the same shape. So, alright. There's our Tektite scene. We need some jumping logic. We also need shadows, which are going to be on every actor that has height. So do I want to make... Alright, all of this is going to go into actor right now, but I do want to split actor into some components, because something like height, that's going to work on rock tiles, like the rocks that you can pick up in Link's Awakening. Bracelet. Bad example, I don't have the bracelet yet. Where do I have the bracelet? Go back to Tektite. So like, if I want to pick up rocks, how am I going to define these? Are these going to be tiles and then they turn into actors when I pick them up? Or will I be able to pick up tiles, in which case the height system has to apply to both? Yeah, we're adding Shadow the Hedgehog right now. It's just going to be a bitmap file underneath every actor. I'm talking about the... Where do I have the Rock's Feather? I guess the Tektite shows it. Just need to add that little couple sets of pixels right underneath, which I'll probably just draw myself, but let me see if the asset pack that I'm using right now already has that. Open external program. Yeah, I kind of doubt they have shadows here. They've got some of the other effects. They've got the water and grass effects 4 times for each color. 5 times. Alright. Stretch and modulated Godot icon. I think before I actually did just in a different project, I would copy the sprite and hold on. Let's see how that looks. Like, copy, scale it to 0.25, set the modulate to black and say 150. So like, there's mixels, but I don't know, it's kind of cool. I'm not gonna use mixels though. I can make a shader that'll nah, we're gonna use a generic sprite. That's a thought. Let me see, did I ever do this in... I know I did this in a previous project called Heart Piece. Which is the only other place where I've implemented Tektite type things. What's up, Judosi? I'm doing well. How are you today? I didn't realize till I started streaming. My throat's kind of hurting right now. I'm not sick, but not the best time to be talking for 2 hours straight. Oh, you're getting a job? Did you apply already? Your interview? What is it? Happy to hear that. One-week internship is the interview. I hope you're getting paid. Or I hope it's a very, very, very good opportunity. Like, don't get cheated out of that. this is gonna be an animated sprite, I think. Pretty much all of my effects in this game are animated sprites. New sprite frames. Add this in, and then add a blank frame as well. Autoplay this. Oh, damn. Okay. Alright, that sounds good, dude. I hope it works out well for you. Alright, how do we feel about fake transparency using high frame rate flashing? I think that looks fine, but I can also just set the modulate too. We're keeping it like this for now, but let's see how it looks in game. So. I think it's gonna default to 8 down. Call this shadow, and we'll save this into VFX. It's probably gonna have a script and everything too. Yeah, we'll see it when it's in game, I guess. But should be an easy fix to just change it to transparency. So shadow will stay here. The only thing we're actually going to be changing is the offsets. I suppose I could do the transform instead, but I think offset I'm just going to keep for height shenanigans. So let's get it here. So positions of vector 2, and that's for alright, well, what am I gonna call this? Because I can call it heights, how high we are off the ground. I can call it Z position, but that's kind of close to Z index. No, I think Z position is what I'm leaning towards. Let's do that. It'll be a float. It'll be 0. Okay. What does Octrock have? We're gonna be copying. Let's just actually, oops, copy the whole thing. Jump time. No projectiles. Alright, we actually don't need most of this. Just delete these. So state default, this is gonna be our idle standing on the ground. Move direction is gonna... Signal bus is going well. You got progress. That's good. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, coroutines are super helpful. I try not to use them too much for like things that are happening every frame in gameplay, because that's when you can run into things freezing one process freezing another. But they are super handy to have. So I actually added some gravity in the projectile. Dr. Rock. No. This one. So it was like 7.5. Oops. Alright, see you, dude. Thanks for popping in. State jump. Alright. I don't know, 10. So when we enter the jump state, Z position will be negative jump height. We need Z position to actually... Well, during state jump, Z position plus equals gravity. Do I have to multiply that by delta? I don't know. Let's run this. So, well, that's probably changing. I'm not actually. Hold on. Sprite offset y equals negative z position. Ooh. Well, this is less. Yeah, what am I doing here? That's Is he gonna fall back? Alright, reset. Oh, whoa, whoa. Okay. Do I do delta here? Oh, that's no delta, no delta. Let's just make these more. How smoothly does this work in game? Like, do I need a rising state and a falling state, or can I get the numbers right somehow? Even faster. What does 30 and 20 look like? All right. How did I do this? So all I did there. No. Pretty much just sending it. So how do I make the initial impulse not so fast? I haven't worked on any platformers. Why is the tektite on crack? I haven't figured out how to sober it up yet. Alright. What? Okay. Is this isn't a delta time thing, right? There's no way. It's just a numbers thing. Like, Z position. Because I don't want to like have a rising one and add to it every frame, because then it'll like smoothly jump up and then fall down, I think. I don't know why it's so hard for me to think with gravity in a top-down setting when it literally should be the same as in a platformer. So let's gravity lower again. Nah, but it's Because I need velocity. And then I add, wait, shit. Let's do, I don't think I'm actually doing anything here. Pretty sure do not use this function. Like, I should be passing delta along, otherwise this might actually give me a different delta time than we would actually be at this point of the state, I think. But if someone knows I'm wrong, please correct me, because I would like to just be able to use this function. Wait! It's actually closer to what I thought it would be. But no, it's adding gravity. I gotta subtract gravity. So it was a delta time thing. It was my first thought. I don't know why I didn't trust myself there. Let's try 60 and 10. Okay. What's up, Game Endeavor? Good to see you. I'm doing some very, very, very basic enemy behaviors right now. I'm finally have a thick enough skeleton of my game that I can start adding actual content, and now I'm getting stuck on things like gravity. But it's okay. Alright, that's a start. Let's animate this. While it's in state default. Alright, I want to add a new... I want to change this to play animation direction and then have a separate one just called play animation. Steering behaviors. I don't know how to do that. We're just going to call this play single animation right now, and then we'll rename both of them. What am I doing? Just reading what's above me. Alright. So play a single animation, tech tie, we will in state default. What was it, idle? I don't remember if I called it idle or default. And then in state jump, this can actually be in state jump entered. Do it. Is that what I called you? Jump and idle. Okay, yeah. Now do it. Alright. Now let's have him... Oh, we never reset jump time anyway. Jump time, like a second. I don't think I use wait time anywhere. Make this 2 seconds. I kind of wish this was reversed, so I can just change these around actually. Is that halfway? This is halfway. Right? Sure. Welcome. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. Alright, this isn't too bad. Alright. He is jumping way too high though. I think I like that more. So now we need him to actually move towards the player. We're gonna get the target direction when state jump entered happens. This is gonna return I don't know, something like player position minus tektite position normalized. We'll multiply that by speed, and we'll only update that during the jump entered. So then it'll just jump wherever the player was going. When the state started. Question is, how are we gonna know who our target is? Target. And it's gonna be any old node 2D, I guess. I don't know how I'm gonna get the target, because this is a single player game. These tektites in the first Zelda, you find them on one of the first couple screens, but in Link's Awakening, yeah, you run into him just before the third dungeon. But it's these guys. Oh, they're blue. Should I be using the blue sprite? I don't know. How are we gonna get the target? Because I can... Do they follow the player before... Like, if I'm at the other side of the screen, are they still targeting me? Yes? No. Alright. I'm hesitant to... So I'm far away. He's not... Oh, he is targeting me. So it's kind of random. I think every jump, he either picks a random direction or picks towards the player. And I think it doesn't matter how far the player is on the screen. So I don't have to do area shenanigans to like only target the player if he's like within a certain radius. I just need to know where the player is per screen. So technically, I don't love this, but let's change. This is our spawn logic for the Octorok. It's only for the Octorok right now. Let's Alright, this is gonna be a temporary function. So yeah, man, pick up Godot again. That's a good time. Actor scene instantiate. Add child actor. Actor position equals location, which I don't have. Do actor position. Oh, then wait for my next Zelda guide. How much has changed? My original was Godot 3.0, and I remember I was having trouble keeping it up to date between minor versions, like between Godot 3.1 and 3.2 and 3.3. At least since 4.0, it's pretty massively different. For me, the biggest change is since they embraced static typing, I did too, and I think it just makes the actual development go a lot smoother. Like I'm finding myself, oh, I forgot to statically type this pretty often, but whenever I have to refer to something that I didn't work on in a couple weeks, that's been the biggest difference. What else is there's like, I'm sure if I went back and looked at Godot 3.0, I'll be like, oh my god, we don't do that anymore, like over and over and over again. But I don't know, you should definitely check out the changelogs when you have a second, because yeah, good software. It's only been getting better. Alright, I'm just putting this right here. I'd say Godot is pretty stable. It's like, if you're going for 3D, there'll be things like inverse kinematics, for example, in 3D. Like, they'll have it, but it'll be bad. Then they'll remove it for like 4 versions, but then that just got brought back. So there's probably a number of things where I'm like, yeah, it's really, really stable if you're not using it for these 3 things, but it gets better. The shadow is rendering on top of all of them, but that is not a big deal. I guess their hitbox is supposed to move with their actual body, or their sprite. Oh yeah, I have my warnings enabled. So what he means is, if I didn't have that vector 2 here, it will tell me, hey, there's no static type. So yeah, that's super helpful for me to keep everything consistent. Very nice, yeah. I think that's the only warning or error setting that I change, but I do it for everything that I consider important. Dynamic typing is very nice though, when you just, if you're working on a new feature that you don't know if you're gonna keep. Like, Godot is so good for prototyping and always has been. But I'd say static typing has made it a lot better in maintaining long-term projects. I don't really have many super long-term projects, but I feel like it helps me get there. So why did I add these guys to the scene? Because I need to change their target. I need to pass the player scene. How should I pass this player scene who is not... We don't keep track of the player in the world. Which is good from, like, if I'm building Tetraforce right now, which is multiplayer. We don't want that. But from, this is a single player game and probably always will be in this state. Because I'm not thinking about yeah, we're just going to always have one player per world. And this is when he's initialized. What? Oh. That's when he's initialized. And then if actor has target, actor target equals player. What do you mean? Isn't has... Is it... Am I thinking get? Oops. Something like that for now. For now. For now. For now. So... Does this crash? Doesn't crash. Now, can we actually use this? We'll say target, okay, direction equals target position minus position, and we normalize that. What? Oh. And then on jump, let's print get target direction. And while we're debugging, let's set spawn amount to 1. What? No position? What do you mean? Is this allowed? Am I doing this right? Where is it breaking? I don't know. Insertion failed. Target is not getting set. Am I forgetting what get does? Yeah, so but are we getting there? Explain yourself. Well, that's not how I want to do it anyway, so how can I do it instead? Do I want... So... If I give actor a reference to the current world, then that gives every actor access to the current player and the current camera, which could be useful. But I'd rather each actor be in their own little bubble and not care about all that other kind of stuff. You know? You know. So how can I have a tektite? I mean, I can set the target. Okay, is there only ever going to be one player? Yes. But I can still design this in a way that if I did have more than one player, I'd have to fix things. But it's not going to break everything right away. It's just going to have the tektites always pick one player as their target at first. But I can change that later. What's up, Mr. Square Peg? Welcome in. Thanks for coming. Oh, get first note in group. See, they know what I'm saying. They know what I need here. So I don't even have to loop here anymore. That's cool. Thank you, Godot. Target equals that. And then whatever nonsense I had over here is already gone. All right. Will this print the target? Did I? Oh, yes, yes. It is printing the direction it has to move. And then if I move over here, it still works. Beautiful. So instead of printing the direction, we're going to change the move direction to the direction. Move direction equals get target direction. And during state jump, we're going to move in direction. Move direction. At speed. All right. Oh, look at that, guys. I don't like how he lands, though. Gotta advance the frame once there. He's so slow, too. So let's do 50, maybe. Reset, reset, reset. What? What's broken? Try again. What's broken? What did I break? Is that just now? Bro, you were just working. Is it getting set up before the player now for some reason? When did I uncheck that? All right. A link to this tile set? Yes. It is paid, but it's really cheap. Itch Awakening by Soda Coma. Yeah, how much was it? Not even $4. It's worth it. It's worth it. And when I bought it, it didn't even have as much as it had. He updated it a couple years ago and like reworked a lot of things, added a bunch more tile sets and actors and stuff. Like this is a good one. It's not the sprites that I ultimately want to use for this project. Like I'm just considering these prototyping sprites, even though they're really good. What I really want is to work with Andrew again. I haven't talked to him about it. I feel bad going to him with new project ideas that I will inevitably abandon after a few months once I get him as excited about it as I am. So I'm just trying to make a whole ass Zelda game before I approach him and be like, all right, we're we just need sprites for this and we can release it. But that'll come when it comes. I'm not using generative AI. Plus, not that I'm that curious, but it can't do pixel art, right? I don't think it can. I'm building a not so simple Zelda in Unreal Engine. Not so simple how? Like a 3D one? This is I consider all the 2D ones pretty dang simple. Also, I am still unlocked. Radiant AI / A-Life. I have no idea what that is. Radiant AI. Bethesda stuff. Interesting. Okay. I gotta read about that later. I didn't know that's what it's called, but I kind of get the picture. So what was I just doing? I don't need this. If it can't find a player, I want it to crash right away. Can I kill these guys? Whoa, 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 whoa. Player deletes. Tektite's not deleted yet. I need to Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl. Alright, I never played that game. I'm gonna assume it's a lot of very difficult behavior tree stuff. When we change the world, we should remove all actors. And also, after we fade out, before we do anything else, despawn actors. How about that? Will this crash? Yes. But why? We don't actually move the player. Alright. Maybe I do want that assert here. Why are you showing me the script? I have a script right here. Alright. Now it's not locking on the player at all. Keep trying, man. Okay. And it can die. Now let's add a bunch more and see how annoying they could get in larger quantities. 6. Yeah. Gotta work on their draw order though, I think. Especially with the shadows. Can it handle 100? Can I handle 100? Oh, and their collisions are stuck on. Alright, I need to set their layer to 0. That's why I was getting stun locked earlier. Okay. All of this stuff should be done in a script, I think, at some point. But I'm just figuring things out right now. Alright. So now I can walk through them. They won't collide with each other anymore either. And this is the new Hyrule Warriors. Collision layer always gets me, yeah. I don't like doing any of my scene setup within the scene itself. It's just, I think that's the way we're intended to do. I mean, Godot lets you do things however you want, but I think to beginners, they recommend you just set like whatever signals you can and collisions and child nodes in the scene editor. So I'm trying to just consistently do it that way. But I like to set up all of my scenes, all of my like gameplay scenes through code. And then I only set up the actual world itself using the 2D editor when possible. Link quits, yeah. Yeah, so if you agree, then I might just start always handling collisions in code. And I'll just try to push that myself if I'm doing another tutorial for this. Okay. Alright. Thanks, guys. That's why I stream, to figure out if I'm just forcing myself down the wrong direction or not. Also, that's so satisfying. Once I have like the actual hit sound effects and enemy death sound effects, this is gonna feel good. How much worse does this feel if they have slightly more health though? It's get that sword. Keep a script called collision layers that just has static layer variables. Oh, yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's helpful. You know, I don't know why they don't let us use the names of the layers that you could set in the project settings as like set those as numerators and let us call those through code. I feel like that would be really freaking nice. Flickering shadow addressed at some point. Flickering shadow is, I did that on purpose, because that's how it looks in game, but now that I see it in game, I'd rather just have this as a transparent sprites. So, all right, let's just change type. How do I change type? You could change type, right? Well, I don't see it. Add a new sprite. Make this at 8. Give it the shadow. And then we're just going to set the modulate to 150. Oh, you like the shadow? Let's see how this looks first though. I could be convinced either way. It flickers. Let's look. Dictate. Wow, well this guy moves a lot faster than mine does. But I think you can tell pretty clearly that it flickers roughly every frame. But you could see it. Let's see how this looks though. Oh yeah, and they only show it while it jumps, if that's what you meant. Anyway, I liked the flicker, so I'm gonna put it back. Yeah, I just didn't get there yet. I see what you mean. Alright, so we'll do hide the shadow during state default. All right, let's do this a little. I don't know if you consider this hackier, but we'll do shadow visible equals z position equals 0. Or it does not equal 0. What's wrong? All right, is that hacky? Question mark? Because it works. Oh, I missed like 6 messages. What method are you using to flicker it? I am simply using an animated sprite, which auto loops, FPS is 60, and it's 0, or frame 0 is there's that, then this is that, whatever. Just an animated sprite. If I wanted to make it even faster, I don't know if setting it above 60 is gonna make it actually. Oh wait, I can't set it above 60. So that's the maximum. The main issue right now is the shadows are being drawn above other dudes. Oh, and you're not dragging my game down. I so much of this is like, what things am I gonna trying to remain faithful to, and what stuff is better left in the 90s. Using a scene to handle collisions. Yeah, I just did that just now because everything shares the same collision polygon. I'm just going to instance that for everything that uses the same points. All right. Well, okay. This is progress. This is progress. That's why you gotta spawn 100 entities so you actually see how things look in motion, even if there's never gonna be 100 entities. Because otherwise, it's a lot harder to notice that the shadows are they still getting drawn? Wait, now they're not getting drawn above anyone else, are they? Well, it's a lot harder to tell. It's looking decent here. No, they are. They are. Can't tell. I think eventually you're going to be able to see that the shadows draw over other enemies once I have the player jumping, because then the player will definitely be jumping during combat and be like, why is that getting drawn above? But that's cool. That's fine. It's just some Z index stuff I'll work on later. Right now I'm just trying to get the tektite to look really good, and then eventually all of this Z position, Z velocity, that's going to have to get put into the actor or some sort of height component for anything that can be in the air and requires gravity and stuff like that. Randomize the jump times. Okay. We'll just put rand range from whatever. So first one's always the same, and then they start. Ooh, that's cool. You're right, shadows would render on top, but I think they would look better. This is chaotic. Oh, that's actually something about this is very soothing visually. Kind of make a Pikmin item. Actually, I totally want to make a Pikmin item. Just have these guys. Once I have, well, yeah, I'll need more stuff for that. Once I have throwing, then I could have an army of little dudes behind me, and then if I hit the throw button or the throw item, it'll just take the closest one behind me and throw it in front of me. Easy. Then give them a state where once they collide with a actor to cling on to them until, I don't know, maybe a projectile comes out of the actor or something. I don't know how it'll work with contact damage. I love Pikmin though. God. Okay. Well, there's no reason why my remake can't have enemy spawn multipliers as like a little cheat code or extra menu option. This is kind of entertaining. All right. Well, one thing I noticed when we checked the shadows is these guys are so much faster. So let's get back in there and take a look. I'm not gonna go frame by frame and try to count pixels on how far they're moving, but I can make it feel a little closer. Yeah, for Pikmin, first two are amazing. If you like the first one and the second one, you should definitely check out Pikmin Squared, which is a ROM hack by Pickhacker. And it puts the entirety of Pikmin 1 into Pikmin 2's engine, and also adds a second like DLC quest and a randomizer, built-in randomizer. It is incredible. Seen it? Yeah, it's so good. Worth playing for sure. But yeah, Pikmin 2 is my favorite by far. Pikmin 4 was good. Pikmin 3 I definitely enjoyed, but I never went back to it since it came out on Wii U. I have the deluxe version, I just haven't touched it yet. Pikmin 4 is good, but it's really different at the same time. Colossal Cavern is spectacular. I absolutely recommend that too. Remember Zelda 1 having this much color? Nah, that's we gotta have more color than this though. Link's Awakening DX is such a vibrant game. I always forget once I go back to this one, and this tile set just happens to be really muted. It looks good, but way less vibrant. Hef, yeah, I think I watched one or two of his Colossal Cavern videos. Oh, yeah, you definitely need... The vibrancy helps when you play it on something with no backlight, for sure. Having flashbacks of playing the Game Boy Color in the car and having to wait for every street lamp in order to see what I'm doing. That's where my motion sickness began. OLED modded Game Boy. Man, I wish. Running out of batteries. Yeah, I always had a couple extra AA in my pocket. I would always carry, like, Link's Awakening is in the device. What other games did I have? I'll have, like, Super Mario 6 golden coins in my pocket along with 2 extra batteries. We had a Game Boy Advance SP, but the backlight on that broke too. Tetris, of course. I don't think I had Tetris on the Game Boy. I got super into Tetris when I was a kid, but I don't remember what it was actually on. I do know once I had an R4 card, I would play, I think it's called Lockjaw or something like that. That might be wrong, but there's a homebrew Game Boy Advance Tetris port that I would play on my Supercard DS2 flash cart. And now there's Apotris, which is the current really good Game Boy flash cart. And fun fact, the person who made the Apotris link cable support, I met at the place that I worked because they were testing out a multiplayer Tetris homebrew just at the coffee shop. And I was like, what the hell are y'all doing? And ended up being the coolest project I've ever seen. And Apotris is probably the best way of playing Tetris these days. Pokemon Yellow I had Yellow and Red, I'm pretty sure. But then I ended up playing Fire Red the most. Tetris DX I don't think I've actually tried. Could you entertain the idea of doing a quick spin attacks like 3D games? It's I suppose. How would I do that? Like, because an analog stick, I don't know if it's gonna cleanly get all four. Like, I assume if I have like, if the last four unique directions are all different and it ends on the same one, and then I press it within a certain timeout, do a quick spin. But I don't know. I feel like the combat for these games just feels really balanced already. So I'm trying to make the sword feel as identical to the Game Boy games as I can. Combat being balanced means getting putting yourself against a wall below you and then just spamming here and never being top left of anything because you can't slash that way. Fun fact, you can't slash bottom right, but the spin attack for the right and the bottom both attack the bottom right first. So if you are northwest of any enemy, you should be doing spin attacks as much as possible. Also, fun fact, you see how I can go straight back into a charge from a spin attack? That was in Link's Awakening DX, and then they removed it from Oracle of Seasons and Ages for some reason. I don't know why. Hurricane Spin would be fun. Yeah, once I have like all the basic items down, I want to add more of just other Zelda items to this project, just to have them all working in engine. Like, if I were to go for just a really, really complete Zelda remake, like, first things first, I'm just adding, right now I just want to add all the stuff that's actually in Zelda 1. But then I want to also have, like, Rock's Feather can replace or be in addition to the stepladder. Flippers can be in addition to the raft. I had a couple other ideas like that, but I can't remember. And then in a randomizer, you might get one or the other. Like, obviously, getting Rock's Feather would be much better than getting the stepladder, but stepladder would still let you progress the same way as Zelda 1. Could be fun. All right, what are we working on right now? I'm just slashing enemies this whole time. We were going to make these guys faster. How long have I been using Godot for? Technically since around 2016, but it's so off and on. Like, I'm not really I don't like do software often. I have like month-long, oh, I'm gonna work on a game and get super into it, and then not touch anything for like a year or two. So I can't really put my experience into years because it's so here and there. But technically since like 2016, technically like a decade now. I started using Godot when it was version 2.1 or 2.2 or something like that. And then I always pop back on when an update comes out just to see if there's anything new I could do. When I come out of hiatus, I feel like at this point I've been off of making content way longer than I've been on making content. I definitely haven't released anything commercial, but I don't want to release anything commercial. Like, absolute respect to the indie developers trying to release their indie game, but I went into this hobby as just like learn more about how the video games that I play work, and everything that I've learned I've gotten off of free resources. So all I want to do is make more, like, add to that sphere of free educational content, along with, you know, if I can release a Zelda game that feels like a Nintendo game, but I can release it for free, then that's one step in the fight against I don't know, corporations, video game industry, first party industry, Nintendo in general. I love Nintendo games, but gotta admit, pretty scummy in general. I don't want to sit here in two numbers for too long, but okay, that's already feeling a little bit closer. And I'm keeping the random times. Like, do they have randomized times in Zelda 1? Oh, they absolutely do. What am I thinking? But is it like they have randomized start times, but then they're on a similar cycle? Or is each jump... No, yeah, each jump's a random weight. I can tell when I'm looking at this guy. How is it in Link's Awakening? Obviously randomized. Okay. Yeah. We're getting there. We're getting somewhere. I don't have them doing random direction. Like, I think it's a 1 in 2 chance for them to either pick any random direction or charge straight for the player. How can I randomize a vector? Is there a randomize function here? Alright, fine. I guess. When do we actually get target actions here? Let's make this a stupid one-liner. Oops. Right. Boom. So some of them will be charging me, other ones are just going anywhere. That actually makes this much harder because you can't kite them. God damn. Yeah, it's one thing if you could always predict that they're gonna charge at you every time, but if there's two of them and one of them is trying to reposition and then they charge at you, that is significantly harder to. Yeah, it's impossible with 100 now. All right, yeah, that is good game design. Good work, Nintendo. Now let's make this. I'm done with the 100. And this is also okay. Using the range thing there is good because I forgot to normalize it. All right, hold on. Let me see if this even does what I'm talking about. If I normalize it, then they should always jump at the same speed, right? So even if they're not going towards me, they're tossing themselves really far every time. But if I don't normalize it, then they do those smaller hops, which I'm pretty sure I see them do in the other game. See, this is kind of this is kind of hard to deal with too. And this isn't really bad behavior. But you see how they're always launching themselves around the room no matter what? That looks better to you? I kind of like the other one where they don't necessarily launch themselves, so their speed is randomized too. So in this case, let's wait for an example. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it... No. See, that guy just did the tiniest hop there. Alright, just as a reminder to myself that I can normalize this. The worse they are, the more accurate. I feel that. We love indecision in this house. We love keeping the options open in this house. Hold on, sorry, don't leave. I'm just gonna microwave my coffee. I'm still here. I live in a studio. I'm 2 feet away. All right, I'm back. So, what else do these guys even need? I think I want their hitbox. I think I want their hitbox being what actually damages the player shouldn't move, but their hurt box might actually be better staying on the ground. I'll have to play with go frame by frame on the Game Boy version to see what I like. Oh, I also don't want to be able to hit them while they're in the air, you know? Oh no. Alright, coffee's on. Hold on. Working at a coffee shop does not prevent me from drinking microwaved instant coffee with Nestle Coffee Mate in it. That's my drug. Heathen. Yeah. So all of the jumping logic is in the jump state, which means as soon as I hit them, they fall straight down to the ground. And you can tell so easily when there's only one or two of them at you. So I'm gonna call this a good first comment. So you what did I even oh, group, yeah, you everything. Yeah, everything. So I mean, yeah, add tech tights. Why not? All right. Yup, sure is lazy git. Because I'm lazy. I also still use, well, I guess I haven't in a while, but I still like GitHub Desktop, even though I haven't used GitHub in like a year. Genuinely so funny seeing me come back with a full 180 on the Linux train. I don't know what happened, man. Some switch just flipped in my brain. Just snap. I don't even know, like, cause it really took me. Okay, I'll say I was unemployed for a minute, and that's when I hopped onto Linux. So I definitely had the time to dive deep into it. But then it just took up so much of my free time. Like, it became a hobby learning about all this shit. Does it make me a better developer? Probably not. I feel like I was a more consistent like I more consistently had projects when I was on Windows. In fact, being on Linux has limited me in, like, I can't do melee modding. Rivals of Aether 2 Workshop just came out. I can't run Unreal. But it's fun. Yeah, it's just fun. It's feels good. I like being able to do that. Unreal works on Linux. From what I hear, setting up the Rivals modding utilities at least is a huge pain in the ass. I haven't actually tried it myself, so I'm one to talk. But I don't know. I'll give it a try. I do know that doing melee modding, I can technically do a lot of melee modding work on Linux with Blender, but then I just have to hop into a VM to actually, like, compile the actual files to add it to the game. and to create the ISO and stuff like that. So I could still do it, but that's just something I gotta keep in mind. Linux, or there's still reasons for me to be on Windows. Yeah, I feel like for game development and software engineering and programming in general, there's a lot of people will make cross-platform or at least Linux available utilities. But when it comes to modding, just because like most gamers are already on Windows, just because we know that most things will run better on Windows, the modding utilities will usually also follow suit. It's like most of these people are running Windows. Why should they care about Linux when Linux can't run all the games? Which isn't true anymore, but I don't think everyone's caught up to that yet. All right. I kind of want to... I kind of want to move gravity, Z position, Z velocity into actor. Have this kind of thing. Like this will be in a height logic function. Meanwhile, almost all Game Boy modding and disassembly requires some form of Linux. Yeah, that's wild to me. Well, no, yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. Just really depends on the developers we can find working on this stuff. Because, like, Melee... Nah, I don't know. I'm not into that many modding scenes. Melee is the only one that I've really tried to learn myself. And it's only been model swaps. I don't know anything about working with the code base. But I don't even think anyone cares about Melee modding anymore. It's so sad. To me, it's looked like the Melee scene sort of fell off a cliff when there were like multiple leagues going on and Nintendo shut down both, or like Panda Global was sponsored by Nintendo or something like that. That's when I fell off. Not that I paid that much attention to the competitive scene, but a booming competitive scene meant a booming modding scene. It's been on fire. Fire in a good way? Or fire in everything's still a dumpster fire like a few years ago? Another group left yesterday because we're toxic. Goddamn. Console mod debate flared up again. People are being the worst versions of themselves. That's a shame. Okay. I'm glad the scene still exists, even if it's... I mean, it's been 25 years, so I'd say it's doing pretty good to still have drama at all. Okay. So I want this height stuff to be moved into their own scene with its own logic that can just be called by the actor if it's even relevant. Basically, I want a Z position component rather than it being something that's inherited by every actor. But I don't, like, if I add a component for that while it's not complete, I'm going to be stepping over myself a lot. But because ideally, like, not every actor's... No, every actor is going to have a state, so every actor will have a state component. But other things might want a state component too. So that might get put into its own script. Sprite direction will be part of an animation player component of some sort. Like a Sprite 2D plus animation player rather than an animated sprite. Because this tech type can absolutely be an animated sprite. And a lot of other... Like any actor that doesn't have multiple directions, like Keys or the slime dudes, or so many things can just use an animated sprite, which I like working with more than animation players. But animation players are good for anything with directions. And honestly, the animation player, I should be using an animation tree instead, because those let you set animations per direction, like, more cleanly. I haven't mastered it, so I haven't touched it for this project. But for now, do I want to put the shadow in the actor and require Octoroks to have shadows? We'll say yeah, you optimize later. Everything gets a shadow. So just give it here. This we'll spawn these in later, but we only have 3 actors. Once I get to like 5 actors, I'll have to be like, all right, you should clean up these scene trees. I'm still only at not that many, so I'm alright. Octorok, Shadow, 8. Okay. Let's see. So that means I can already variable this. Update Z position, does that? Yeah, okay. Anything else going on with Z position over here? Z velocity equals jump height. Z velocity minus equals... Okay, this, I think, goes into update Z position. Yeah. And you get removed. And physics process. We can just update Z position all the time. Alright, so oh, where are you going? Alright. Clearly there is something I didn't want running all the time. So the gravity... Gravity can happen hide our other actors' shadows off the bat. It's not relevant until we use them. Player shadow hide go. There's your speedrun skip. If you get a hit before the "you got the sword" text box shows up, it skips it. So you plant a bomb before you talk to an NPC. The bomb pauses. Then in the short time between the NPC dialogue closing and the "you got an item" dialogue opening, the bomb explodes. Boom, dialogue skip. Nah, I'm gonna fix that. So, okay. So, they are... no, they're not. Is their Z position still getting reset when I hit them? It looks like it is. Not that I should even be able to hit them while they're in the air, but they're definitely not supposed to drop as soon as I hit them. Where am I accidentally setting Z position to 0? Is that on a state change for tech type? Z position equals 0 on state jump exited. Okay. And let's go to UI. This is where I have my has sword boolean because I don't have inventory implemented yet, but let's do that. There we go. And let's make it so there's only 2. And also make it so they have way more health. That's in Tektite. Give them... let's give them 10. 10 hits. I don't want their so they're using knockback position. I think when they're in the air, their move direction, I think I gotta extend the hurt logic just for, no, not just for Tektites, because this isn't gonna be anything that's in the air. So I need to, at the end, okay, so what's happening right now is if I hit them while they're in the air, you know what? Let's see how this actually works. Let's go here. Let's kill this guy, equip the feather, leave, and save state. Did that save state? Save state. So what happens if I hit him midair? Come here. They bounce, but their move direction does not change. So I could hit them to the right, but they're still gonna move diagonally. What's happening in mine right now is once the hurt... Oh, wait. No, yeah. Once the hurt stops... Wait, what? I think they're... Okay. We need the jump timer to reset. But we also need this to happen on state hurt exited. both fun and frustrating how one simple enemy takes so much detail and care. Yeah, I'll say the enemy itself is just pointing out what complicated engine features I'm currently missing. Because I'm simultaneously adding player jumping at the same time as adding these tektites. The tektites are otherwise... Hardest thing I had to figure out for them was, like, how should I target the player and move towards them? But yeah, like, sometimes you go into one new feature and realize there's 80 different things that I hadn't started yet. I think it's satisfying. Project feels all... Oh yeah, the gravity too. Shadows. Nah, yeah, there's a lot that went into these guys, but it goes into everything, you know? Like, I'm just gonna drop these shadows onto rocks when I have to pick them up and throw them. Way to jumping, yeah. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. And that's on programming. So when is our move direction getting reset? Because I don't want it to reset. Why are we getting target direction here? Don't do that. Yeah, we get target direction there. Okay. What does that do for me? They're still stopping. Oh wait, that kind of looked like... It kind of looked like he double jumped, but he did the right... Doesn't feel natural, no. It doesn't look natural in game, but it looks better in game. Like, I think it's weird that they keep moving in the same direction after you knock them back. But it works. I don't think I want them to move in the same direction. Like, if I'm going for accuracy, they should keep moving in the same direction they were before you hit them, right? But I think I just want them to continue the knockback direction until they fall. That would be the most realistic. So if on state hurt exited, I said move direction to knockback direction, that might give me what I'm looking for. No, it still stops them. Velocity being carried, just not the direction. Yeah. But yeah, this is... Where in the hurt state are they deciding to just stop? State hurt, velocity is knockback direction times knockback speed times get physics process delta time. Blah, blah. When we change the state to default, there's really nothing here that should be stopping it. So what direction is it when state hurt is exited? Like, what is our move direction right here? And well, it goes back to default. Okay, we'll do if z position does not equal 0, move in direction
Move direction. This might actually give us, okay. I think this is gonna give us, if I comment this out, this will give us vanilla behavior. I think. Come towards me. Yeah, so that's vanilla behavior. Or that's how it works. That's source material behavior. Okay. So I can keep it like that. That's not bad. That's how it's supposed to look. But ooh, does it look better with the knockback direction? Okay, he jumped again. He's not supposed to do that. Only jump. Okay. If you hit him midair, it resets the jump timer. I want it to still randomize. All right. So now they get launched far away. Could you take both the knockback direction and original direction and get a new direction? I suppose, but I think that'll look a little too arbitrary. Like, okay, I'll try it if there's a quick function in vector 2 that lets me mix two functions. I'm sure there is. I'm just bad with trig, so what is it? I think it should be one or the other. Not that I'm unwilling to try it, but this is looking good to me. Cause if I go back to 100 tektites and we'll give him 2 health. We should be able to just like swing the sword and a bunch of them go flying. Remember me from the Zelda clone some years ago? Welcome back. Look what I'm still working on. Alright, this is looking pretty natural to me. I like how the air knockback feels here. And if I ever, I'll put a comment for myself. Source will confuse me. Vanilla behavior. So here's how it looks. You can't even tell when there's this many, but we're keeping it here. Another thing I should do is for all actors that are in the air, so this is going to be an update Z position, sprite offset equals negative Z position, but also sprite Z index equals Z position. Sure. Does that fix my shadow stuff at all? I think so. Do you see any shadows rendering above other guys? Basically, I just don't want any of those shadows to render on top of anyone that's in the air. If it's rendering above something on the ground, I guess I don't really care right now. But how is anyone supposed to be able to tell when it looks like this? I don't know. Have one in a fixed state in the air to test. Good point. Let's alright, do, where is it? World. We'll have one. We'll set its speed to 0. No. Alright. Alright. Hold on. We also need. Let's disable our hitbox. Oh, I can't do that. How do I, here, it is under me. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to do. What is tripping out here? Oh. Okay. I'm hitting the maximum Z index, I guess. Okay. So let's say that looks good. I can't walk under them yet because the hitbox is not yet disabled. Or I think on the actual hit logic, I want to see if one of them is like, if they're both off the ground, like if they're both in the air at all, I'll consider them able to hit each other. But if one's in the air and one isn't, then the one that isn't should be able to dodge it, I think. Like if he's in the air, I can't hit him with the sword, but he can't hit me, but he is going to land on me, and that's what's actually going to hurt. But and then if I want them to be more likely to hit the player, I just won't make them jump quite as high. That's how I'm imagining it right now. I don't want to take a break though. Do original games have the 0 wait time for their jumps? What's the 0 wait time? I feel like they do have a wait time now. Oh, sometimes they're jumping right after another. I didn't notice that until just now. Alright. Am I not resetting the wait time after the jump? Reset jump timer, state jump exited. Okay, that was oh. Yeah, why is he sometimes going twice? When does the jump timer actually reset? Because I feel like as soon as state default... Then we go jump. And we jump. And then once we land, we go default, which should automatically reset the jump timer, which goes anywhere from... Let's make these 2. Do 1 to 4. My timer logic's also kind of weird because I'm going up instead of going down, and it's never actually lower than 1, is it here? I just didn't want that to be 0. Or no, it's fine. It's fine the way it is. I don't care. Did that fix it? I wasn't paying attention. It still did one. Yeah, he did one right there. Yeah, and that does not happen in vanilla. What? I don't want this to ever be. I think that's what I was missing. I randomized it to sometimes literally be right at the end of the timer or right before the end of the timer. But now it can only be a maximum of halfway through the end of the timer. Now the timer's a little too long, but we're making it. What if I do 0 and 3? I don't even know if I need that one there. I think I only put the minimum because I was thinking the timer was going down and not up, but we probably don't even need the minimum. It could just be 0. Yeah. All right. Call this jump time. Now one might argue this is a bad magic number, but that's fine by me. I think zeros, ones, and twos are always allowed to be in code. It's the idle animation sprite, the jump sprite. The jump sprite is in the idle animation. You know, I flipped these because I didn't like, yeah, let's flip these again. It looked bad when everything was the same consistent animation, but I think that this should actually be like this. Okay. Okay, that's looking better too. Come this way, man. Alright, hitbox placement is the next thing I gotta do. But yeah, I am done. I want to take a break. I haven't had breakfast yet. And it's 1 p.m. Goddamn. Okay. Thank you all for watching. I'd say this was pretty decent progress today. I'm gonna stream. Today's Wednesday. I'm not gonna promise when my next stream is gonna be. But I'm gonna keep working on this, and there'll be progress, and it's gonna look good. So thank you all for watching. I will go now. Goodbye.